On this AVNation special, we talk with a group from the AVIXA Women's Council about their regional events, how to get a local group started, and why they have been so successful. All that and more next on this AVNation special.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is an AVNation special. The AVIXA Women's Council gets local. This is an AVNation special. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. We're talking about the AVIXA Women's Council today. The AVIXA Women's Council started to provide a global community of AVIXA members committed to supporting and empowering women who work in the technology and AV space. The current chair is Penny Sittler from Draper. This media member council is one of the most active, if not the most active, among AVIXA groups, especially regionally, which is one of the things we're going to get into today, hosting several regional events throughout the country and around the world. On today's AVNation special, we're going to get an inside look at the group from its members, discuss why the regional events have been so successful, and talk about ways for AV professionals to get involved. With me to discuss all these things is a fantastic group of members. First and foremost, Corey Schaefer from QSC. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Thank you. Colleen Leith of Marketing Matters. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Tim. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Gina Sansevero from FSR. How are you, ma'am?
I'm doing very well, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Brandy Alvarado from RP Visuals. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well. Thank you.
And Catherine Wingert from Mad Systems. Welcome, ma'am.
Good morning. Excited to be here.
Oh, thank you. Brandy, I want to start with you actually on this, on some, AV industry doesn't get much breaking news, but you guys are getting ready to announce that this regional groups have actually increased from Infocom, and you're getting ready to announce that you now have 26 members. What are those regional groups?
26 groups. 26 groups. Yeah. You're getting the scoop, my friend. So as of the breakfast, we were at 15 groups, and we have grown since then to 26 groups nationally and 6 international. So that's pretty exciting news. You know, our initiative going into the breakfast was to really increase our footprint across the nation, and we were really calling it an activation year so that we could get more groups going. And that's still the case. 26 is a great number, believe it or not, but we definitely think that there's room to grow even well beyond that, as well as international. So very proud of that, but we still have a ways to go.
For those who aren't familiar, what are the 26 groups, and so folks are looking for?
Okay, here you go. You ready? We've got, let's list them out. We've got Atlanta, we've got Boston. In California, we've got a Northern California, Los Angeles, which is new, San Diego, which is new, Southern California, which Corey and I started the whole ball rolling. We have one now starting in Chicago. We've got one in Denver, Colorado, which is new, Des Moines, Iowa, which is also new, Detroit, Michigan. We've got a few in Florida, one in Tampa, which is where Colleen's at. We've got one in Miami, one in Orlando. We also started one not too long ago in Minneapolis, New York City, where Gina hails, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Phoenix, Portland, which is new, Raleigh, North Carolina, which is new, Seattle, Washington, which is new. We've got several in Texas. We've got Austin, which is new, Austin, San Antonio, actually, which is new, Dallas, Houston, Toronto, and Washington, D.C. to round it out. And then, like I said, 6 international, which include London, India, we've got New Zealand, Brazil, Mexico, and Australia.
No, that's quite a list. And actually, I'm
a hell of a list.
The event, the Chicago group is having an event November 6th that I'm going to be going
to. The fall ball.
Yep. NEC's new headquarters there. So, Corey, I want to start with you on this. What actually kind of led you to get involved in the Women's Council?
So I had attended breakfasts at the trade show each year, and I thought it was great. You know, it was the opportunity to really network with other women, have some inspiring message or, presenter, but then it was just once a year. So I just said, for me personally, I would love to see this happen at a local level and for us to do these more often. And because I don't want to meet just once a year. So I also wanted to get involved because my goal would be that when I exit this industry, that women being a part of the industry just isn't a conversation. I feel like my whole career we've been talking about the lack of diversity and the lack of women in tech. And I really want that to change. And some days I get kind of frustrated. I just feel like, why are we still talking about it? Why is this still a subject? And it can be a little discouraging, I would say at times, but I also see like what Brandy just said. I mean, how many groups we've added just since the breakfast at Infocom, and we are really seeing change. We're seeing women on boards, we're seeing women run organizations, and we're seeing women, running the technical divisions, et cetera. So I got involved because I want to see more diversity and I want to see more women at the boardroom table.
Yeah, Gina, you host one of the events in New York every year. I think we've been to a couple of them there during New York Digital Signage Week. That's one of the ways that you've gotten involved. But how else other than that have you gotten involved?
Well, Corey and Brandy had asked me initially to start a New York group because, well, I think that they wanted to balance the coasts, but now we have this competition going on, who can have the most people at their events. But no, really, I mean, I attended the breakfast too, and when I heard that they were doing this, and when they reached out to me and said, this might be a really great way to continue the conversation and to engage the individuals in your area, you might want to consider this. And I went out immediately and I found myself a co-conspirator, and we decided that we were going to create regional events for New York City Metro, which basically means downstate New York, eastern Connecticut, and northern central New Jersey. And we decided that we were going to do quarterly meetings, and those meetings are generally both educational and network kind of support growth in nature. So we'll have a speaker come, we'll do tours, we'll have some sort of an educational event that's either AV specific or at the very least business specific. And then we also combine that with the networking part of those. So the New York Digital Signage Week is actually something relatively new for our regional group. We've only done it one year, which was last year, and this year we're going to be doing it again. And it turned out to be our largest regional group meeting. I am not sure if that's because it was at a bar and the other ones are not. But we had about 65 people attend that meeting. We have more planning to attend this year, and this year we have a great location, not a bar, donated by Unilumin, right in Midtown Manhattan, so right by Penn Station. And what we do is the really cool part of New York Digital Signage Week, and I'm glad you brought it up, the really cool part of those meetings is that we get everybody from around the country and around the world. We have people from the UK coming in this year to really help support it. And it's in conjunction with the digital, they have a name, the Digital Signage Week people over in the UK, and I'm blanking and he's going to kill me, but that organization has a name. And so we really get some good pull, and we really get to have a diversified group there. So I hope that answers your question.
No, absolutely it is. Yeah, absolutely. Colleen, you're down in Florida, as Brandy mentioned. How did you get first involved in the Women of AVIXA events?
Well, I too started by going to the breakfast at Infocom each year, and I was greatly inspired last year. I think it was last year, perhaps 2 years ago, listening to Brandy and Corey talk about the need to take these to local groups and to really start to grow these groups and doing things at the local level. So I volunteered to start the Tampa chapter, although I had just moved here and really didn't know anybody in the area. So they very kindly introduced me to folks. Amanda from AVIXA sent me the list of folks that were part of the AVIXA Women's Council here, and we're growing our group. Our last event, our first two events, we had 12, 14 folks attend. Our last one was 31, and our October 11th event, we have a goal of 50 attendees, and we're holding that at Tech Data. So I'm very excited about this, and I love seeing the growth. And I think it really is something that our community needs, and there's a lot of benefits for all of the folks attending.
Catherine, you spearheaded, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but you spearheaded the headshot portion of the Women of AVIXA event in Southern California. Was that your first introduction and involvement in this group, or had you been involved previous?
I had been involved here and there. I actually attended the first mixer that Corey and Brandy threw in Southern California, and it was really enjoyable because I was just surrounded by a group of women that were all after we kind of did the introduction of everyone. They came up to me after and they're like, well, you remind me so much of myself when I started in this industry. Here's my card, feel free to contact me, and I would love to be a mentor to you. And it was really kind of inspiring. And so I attended more mixers from that point on, but only about a handful, not that many. Unfortunately, it didn't work with my schedule. But we recently, Mad Systems did host one of the last mixers for the Southern California chapter, and it was a headshot happy hour. And I had been wanting to host one for a while. I just had to think of some fun, creative way of, kind of making it a little different and unique, because I'm like, how do you find a speaker? I don't know how to exactly go about doing that. And so I wanted to think of a way of doing something a little different. And like Gina was saying, because it was at a bar, maybe that's why she had such a high attendance. So I wanted to do a happy hour, because who doesn't enjoy a happy hour on a Thursday after work? So yeah, we did this headshot happy hour. It was a really fun opportunity to come and get your headshot taken, and also to help give back to the community. So by bringing a piece of lightly used clothing to donate to Working Wardrobes, you were able to get a free headshot. And so it was kind of like, a win-win for everyone.
No,
it was really fun.
And what's really cool about that is that, I speak to the ladies around the country every once in a while, and I think that's going to be the one that people copy the most, because everybody said, oh, I wish I had thought of that. That is fantastic. And so you'll see more of these, I guarantee it, popping up across the country as people start to kind of copy it and make it their own.
And
That's awesome. I love that.
That's what we're doing in Tampa on October 11th. Is a headshot party. Yes, thank you. Great inspiration.
But Gina, the cool thing is copying is not only allowed, it's encouraged. So what's great is we have all these events happening in all these parts of the world. And then as a community, we share what we're doing, and we're sharing what's working, and we're sharing thoughts and ideas and presentations, etc. And others are saying, hey, great idea, grabbing that and running with it. So this group is very collaborative and very supportive.
Absolutely. It's exciting to see others take on that same kind of theme. And I hope to see that everyone else loves it as much as we did, as far as planning it goes and hosting it and just being a part of it. And plus, I got a free headshot, and I'm not going to go get my headshot taken somewhere else. So it was kind of a nice little takeaway from it.
Yeah, and just to sort of add on to that, and totally have to give credit to Catherine and her team at Mad Systems for pulling off a great event, and for thinking of this this really valuable event. But in addition to not only giving back and getting a free headshot, we also had a panel discussion which really led to some kind of great interactive conversations. And I think that's one of the takeaways that I always get from these meetings, especially within my group, is we get so much personal, professional growth opportunities from, just these conversations that come up. So we had a panel of 4 women, and I actually moderated this particular one, but we talked about, work-life balance. We talked about millennials in the workplace and how to kind of best work with them, how to be a successful leader within your organization. So it's those types of topics that are really important and of value to these groups. And I think that, that just gives you so much personal and professional growth to bring back to your company. And it is a very valuable thing and tangible, we all get a lot out of these meetings. It's not just a happy hour, and that's great. Believe me, that's the cherry on top. But yeah, it's always a good thing. But we always want to keep in mind when we have these different meetings and start these groups that we're giving back. We want to make sure that the women that are attending and men that are attending are getting something of value, whether it be technical education, whether it be professional growth, personal growth, ways to to deal with certain things, how to be a better leader within your organization, things like that. I mean, these are very good conversations to have and very valuable.
Yeah, Tim opened with the fact that as a council, AVIXA has many councils. This is one of the most active councils. And so that says to me that it's working and it's needed, right? Because I think that as a volunteer organization that AVIXA is, people want to get involved. I think most people just wonder, how would they get involved? And this really opens up that box for so many people to get involved and for them to get involved locally. So Randy, if we were, so we've got, we're just shy of 30 groups. So maybe we wanted to have 60 groups by the end of the year. What's it take to start a group? I mean, so if somebody's listening to this and they're going, okay, I'm in Salt Lake City, or I'm in Albuquerque, or I'm in Amarillo, Texas. Boy, I don't even know if there are members that are around me. So how would I start a group?
Really, it's super easy. And we've gone through a couple of webinars to kind of walk you through a bunch of steps. It's super simple. So really, it's getting in touch with myself or Corey or Gina, any of the leaders that are on the council at this point, or getting in touch with AVIXA. There's a really simple form that you can actually start the process with on the AVIXA Women's Council page. Once you've filled that out and give us a really basic 1 minute of information, it'll take you to the next step, which is basically getting your dream team. So like Gina mentioned, she's got a co-conspirator. I always call Corey my partner in crime. So you want to find somebody who can help you lead your particular group. Once you've got that as sort of established, it's really just kind of an easy peasy thing. We do a quick onboarding meeting. There are not many sort of standards or rules that we have been, put forth in terms of from AVIXA in terms of what we need to do. They don't say you need to have these sort of meetings. These are what we're doing. The goal is that we usually have meetings quarterly in each of our groups. If there's more than that, then that's even better. Southern California seems to be doing a monthly at this point, which is great. But truthfully, once a quarter is kind of the ballpark, if you will. And then, it's just a matter of gathering your people and gathering your database. So between the folks that are in your region, what contacts that this collective leadership team has, as well as the supplemental members on the AVIXA side, we start a database, and then it's just a matter of kind of picking your theme. And believe me, not only is Headshot Happy Hour a great inspirational thing, but we've done tons of events across the country through all of our different groups that people can gain inspiration from. So they are welcome to steal those ideas and use them as their own, or come up with something new. I mean, a lot of our groups do completely different things in Southern California do, and that's totally acceptable. Some of our groups just like to get together and have a networking hour. Some of our groups likes to have a lunch. Some of our groups like to do, speakers. Some of our groups like to do tech tours. And these are all wonderful, valuable things. So we don't discourage any of those ideas in terms of what comes out of our groups and our leadership council. So it's pretty exciting. And then once they've planned their first meeting, believe me, it just dominoes. It just gains momentum. And it's so fulfilling as a leader to be able to see your group grow and flourish and add new faces and get to do these fun events like what Catherine planned.
So Brandy, this isn't about the starting a group, but about kind of, I guess, attendance to the mixers. We actually had, even though it is a women's council, we had a couple of gentlemen at the last mixer.
Yeah.
And I know you and many others would agree, actually, that their attendance was very valuable during our panel. They added such a great, another perspective that a lot of us women, like, it didn't come up at all when we were talking. It was an open panel. So some of the stuff that came up, their perspective was so valuable. And it was really actually nice. At first, when I saw men, I was like, oh, I didn't realize this was open to everyone, but why not,
Yeah.
And then they added into the panel, and everyone really appreciated their input, and it was such a nice perspective. So I think all of the groups pretty much are open to everyone. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, we believe that really strengthens our network, our support system with the groups in, in New York and Boston, but all of them. I think that perspective, the different perspectives, really add to the foundation. So we always make sure that there are men present, but we also always make sure that the invitation is wide open. I had a business owner, a manufacturer, called me the other day, and he said to me, Gina, how do you do it? How do you diversify your company? We need more women. We need to be able to recruit. We need to, just have that diverse viewpoints. I truly believe it. How do you do it? And I'm like, dude, if I had the answer to that question in this industry, I charge people to pick my brain for it, but I don't know. There's not enough of us. But my first response to him was basically, come to a group meeting, come to a regional group meeting, wherever your company is located, and he has locations, across the country. So wherever your company is located, go to a group meeting, find your support, find your network. And not that I want to say, recruit from that network, but people know people know people, and, keep at it.
Well, Colleen, I'll pick on you for a second. If and obviously everybody else can jump in on this. Talk to somebody who doesn't have a region yet, right? Like Brandy listed off 26 folks. Obviously, there are many more regions in the U.S. and obviously throughout the world. Somebody's listening to this or watching this, and they're like, okay, my region, my area does not have one. I want to do this. I'll go through the process that Brandy laid out, but then I've got to plan this event. And to Catherine's point, some people don't know how to get a speaker. They don't know how to do these things. What are some of the steps that you guys have done there in Tampa, and obviously you guys can jump into, to plan an event? What are the steps that they have to take? What's the first thing or the second thing they need to do?
Well, that was exactly my situation. I was new to the Tampa area. I really didn't know anybody in this area. I've lived in Southern Florida for the last 22 years prior to moving here 3 years ago. And I basically reached out to Corey and Brandy as I spoke with them at the, or I think I just emailed them after the breakfast and said, I'm interested in starting a group, and what do I do? And they immediately gave me their best practices. They shared materials with me from the several meetings that they had, kind of gave me tips and hints on what worked and what didn't work as well. And like, for instance, you guys are all doing really well with happy hours. We have much better attendance at luncheons. Go figure. I'm a happy hour kind of girl myself. But that seems to be working for the folks in this area. AVIXA, Amanda from AVIXA hooked me up with the ladies at AVISPL. So Erica Schumpert from AVISPL has been my partner in growing our group and helping put the events on. And we just bounce ideas back and forth. And I still reach out to Gina, Corey, and Brandy as, if we get stuck on something, because a little brainstorming goes a long way. So I would really encourage anybody who's thinking about it to just jump in and do it. It's really not difficult, and you really have a strong support group behind you to help you with every facet of it.
And I'm going to just jump in and say that when the Houston group got started, we had people that were willing to start the group, but they didn't have a location to start it. So they said, I have no idea where to host a meeting or where to hold a meeting. So we got together, and with this group, we all know people in every city. So we had a dealer that was more than willing to open up their facility to be able to show that off, to be able to have their team participate. When people say, gee, I'm looking for a sponsor, we all know people. So this group is not only active, it's just so supportive and encouraging, regardless of where the group is looking to start. And the other thing I'll say is, the leaders don't do every single meeting. So the goal that we have in Southern California is we'll do a lot of the send out the invites and do the communication, but we're doing the ask at every meeting, like who wants to do the next one, so that I think that it makes it easy for the leaders. It makes it easier to be able to do it. And then secondly, it also opens up this this ability for others to participate, because if it's just the same people every single time, you're really not allowing others to get involved and step up and participate.
And it's exhausting. So we're finally at that point too, where I think this will be our fourth or fifth meeting. And it's basically Stephanie Kohler from LG and Melissa Rees from Tech Data who are running it. They're ordering the lunch, LG's doing the sponsorships, paying for the photographer. And boy, it's been a nice break. I'm grateful to have them helping out. And it's going to be a great event.
Yeah,
Brandy,
I think that I was, sorry for jumping in on anyone. I think that I was kind of thinking about it too much when it got to the point of like hosting it and planning it and coming up with the idea. I think I was kind of stressing myself out. And so I was calling Brandy a lot and like bouncing things back and forth between her and just kind of thinking. And she's like, you got it. Like you're kind of, she didn't say this, but you're kind of thinking about it too much. I was kind of making it more work than it really needed to be. And it actually turned out great because I stopped stressing about it as much and I kind of just let it flow naturally.
Yeah, with the leaders sort of taking on the communications part and maintaining a database and things like that, having somebody else sort of host it and come up with the idea and the theme and what have you, it really does take a lot of the burden off of the leaders. We still do conduct a bit of what we call AVIXA business at every event, just so that we're communicating with our group anything new that's sort of coming down the pipe from the AVIXA level, whether it be about the InfoComm breakfast or what have you. But we always feel that it's important to talk about that as well, and what's going on in our community and AV at large. So these events, again, my whole goal from the get-go was just we wanted to bring something of value to these groups, and I think with events like what we did with Headshot Happy Hour and what all the other groups are doing, it definitely solidifies that goal.
Our whole industry is just about, this industry, one of the things we all talk about, male, female, we are always talking about, it's the people that make this industry great. And this is just one of those other opportunities for us to connect with some amazing people.
Yeah, for sure.
Gina, we'll start the question here with you and ask all you guys in turn as we wrap up here. Why do you think this has been so successful? I mentioned at the top of the show that this is the council from AVIXA, of the councils, and I've been on a number of them in the past. This is the most active, I would argue. It's certainly around the country and around the world on a regional standpoint. But why do you think this has been so successful?
I think that people in this industry, women specifically, have always been very nurturing to others, whether it's new people coming in, whether it's new people in their companies, whether it's just meeting new people. I think that everybody's nurturing, everybody wants to help for the most part. We have a really, really great industry. I've worked for other industries before that it's a little bit more cutthroat. It's not as community focused. And so once we kind of established that the entire industry seems to be a really great group of people, we found that women in particular had this sense that they wanted to nurture each other, that they wanted to help and support each other, because we're lacking in numbers, also because we have a lot to give back, and our viewpoints matter, and the men we work with tell us our viewpoints matter, so we are empowered by that, and I think that that's important to note. And then finally, these regional groups really give everybody a safe place to meet, to mingle. It's non-competitive. You can be standing right next to somebody who you were, trying to outbid for a project last week, and you're having a discussion about, anything, industry, family, wine, chocolate, it doesn't matter. You're having a conversation with somebody that you wouldn't normally even at Infocom or even at a different type of regional event like an NEC showcase or something like that, you wouldn't normally feel safe enough to have a conversation like that. So we really try to have these regional groups being safe spaces, spaces where you can pick people's brains and understand, and they'll understand where you're coming from and you understand where they're coming from. It's just a group of people who want to nurture.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
Good. You guys, that's going to do it for our time. I want to thank you all so much for joining us. Miss Brandy Alvarado from RP Visuals, thank you so much. How do people find you or RP Visuals?
You can find me at Brandy at rpvisuals.com or on Twitter at avbrandy. Hit me up. Let me know how I can help you.
All right, very good. Ms. Corey Schaefer from QSC, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. You can find me at corey.schaefer@qsc.com. You can find me, Corey Schaefer, on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook.
All right, very good. Gina Sansevero from FSR, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And on Twitter, I am at Gina Sands, at FSR_EDU. And you can find me on LinkedIn, and email is gsansevero@fsrinc.com. And if you can't spell that, it's fine. I totally understand.
We'll put a link on the page.
Thank you.
Colleen, thank you, ma'am.
Hi, thanks, Tim. You can find me, you can reach me at Colleen at marketingmatters.net, and I'm on Twitter at Colleen L, Facebook, and LinkedIn as well.
All right, very good. And Catherine, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you. How do people find you or Med Systems?
You can find me at cat at madsystems.com. Mad Systems is on Facebook and LinkedIn, Twitter, all of that. I guess I'm a little behind on the Twitter game. I don't even know what my handle is. But thanks for having me, you guys. I really enjoyed being a part of this.
Thank you so much. My name is Tim Albright. Don't follow me on the Twitters, but go by the website, if you would please. AVNation.tv, AVNation.tv. You'll find programs like this, as well as a host of others. All that and more at AVNation.tv, AVNation.tv.